I sat down with some MKOI fans after they'd won the first game against Vitality, and they were like, "We're gonna win, no?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so." And then they ended up horribly losing, going 0-3, and they were already depressed from the last 2 days.
It's rough.
It seemed not a nice time for them.
But here we go, week 1 versus week 2. Of course, this is a little disingenuous, but we're kind of just wanting to paint the picture to start here as things are going pretty well for JoJo already. Week 2 continuing to look good as Vladdy still doesn't have a flash. Wouldn't have been able to use it anyway. Important to note as he was grounded. But the graphic we were showing there for TLDR, week 1 bad, week 2 good, and continuing to look good.
You set it up, Daniel. He had a mark, a target on his back. Oh, Lospa.
Upa, flash away. It's a good fall down for upset. Immediate exhaustion to be burned. Barrier as well as some body blocking with the clone. Love that from Alvaro, just to eat at least one of those Mystic shots. But the fully stacked lethal tempo making things easy for upset. Unfortunately now LYON has arrived. It's Lospa who's going to grab a kill. Fnatic still like the angle on this fight. Lospa likely to fall, but upset looking for an angle to maybe turn onto Alvaro. Fully stacked on the Rising Spell Force. A ton of attack speed, but just not nearly enough damage. It's 1-for-1 in the end, but now JoJo Q going all in here. Onto Razor. Not able to force a summoner, but at least chunking him out, maybe making him nervous to keep that jungle clear going, but he already got his kill.
I really liked how the Fnatic bot lane played that, because they were very like cautiously optimistic in how to play the 2v2, but Mirwen might be in trouble. He's gonna be fine. Yoya is prowling. Some trades in top lane, but not gonna go anywhere. I think Mirwen is pretty happy with how this early game's gone for himself. Just able to farm up on the Zambesa. Lospa is looking for another cheese. Supa is in danger here.
Completely caught out here. Has level 6, but he's got nowhere to go. He's just going to dash back, get stunned midair anyway. Fnatic going to take the time walking him down. No one else is nearby. And this is the second time we've seen, I think, this fast play from Lospa specifically, and both times it has worked. Supa thought he had access to that wave, thought he'd be able to push for free, but wasn't anticipating Lospa just spending 10, 15, 30 seconds. We didn't really get to see, just waiting in that bush to set up the play.
Yeah, we'd kind of like to see a replay to see how Lospa pathed, or like what it looked like from Supa's POV, because that looked very int from us, right? But of course, probably Supa saw something that we didn't, or something looked
Someone
awry.
somewhere said Alistar has base.
Yeah.
And that is the piece of information that was incorrect, that cost him his life.
We need to track down who said it.
Who said it?
Okay, grubs now for MKOI.
Someone has to be held accountable. MKOI at the very least making a counterplay. They're getting grubs. If they get all 3 would be nice, but I guess they just don't.
They already used the smite, but
Supa is here. Did use ult in the previous fight, and LYON not able to smite.
Oh wait, Razor smited one.
Razor smited it. Yeah, the icon pop up there is a bit confusing.
Oh, so he just walked into the bush. Okay, well, I thought there was something more.
The jury has reviewed the evidence, and the culprit was Supa, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happens. He wanted to crash the wave. I mean, I don't know what to say, really.
It's not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
The good news is the rest of the map is doing pretty well as LYON comes flying down from the sky. Vladdy, no flash available and in trouble. Lospa doing his best to body block. Ulti across the team is good from upset as Razor keeps this fight going. And once again, it's Supa who's in trouble. Oh, God, no. Oh, Supa. I'm sorry, brother. It's a rough one. That blast cone takes him absolutely nowhere as he's once again sent back to the fountain.
Both teams are taking turns bullying here. Oh, Saburo, though. Mirwen going in.
Grim Deliverance, nice pull back into the tower, responds with a public execution. Saburo has flash, as does Mirwen. Whoop. Find out space here. Good play from Mirwen. Saburo flash in, one auto, still gets the knockup, dash forward, Saburo! The solo kill! IG top laner! Narrative, Demacia Cup champion!
From the LPL,
Narrative!
The first solo kill in the LEC up against the Titan of Mirwen.
That was good though. Good job, Saburo.
Yeah.
Mirwen, I like that he's playing on the edge there, but just a bit of a miscalculation. Or was it all part of his master plan to feed more gold into JoJo, who just stares at Saburo a little bit, and then it's just going to bite him. Oh, no.
No way.
Oh, no. No. That's
Does he live?
Don't. Okay, they got the kill. Oh, they got the kill. This game, I like how close it is. I like how back and forth it is, but it is loose.
Ezreal has the extended range, so when you are playing this matchup, it's really all about finding the all-ins for Kai'Sa, but when you're already weaker in the all-ins, you don't really have any counterplay other than asking your jungler to come, and that's what MKOI's done. LYON is here. Upset might have bit off a bit more than he can do here.
Desperate for the play. What's it going to cost him? It was a wave that cost Supa's life, but Losta doing a good job of making some space here, trying to punish. Ulti in anticipation of Alvaro's ultimate. It was a little bit premature, and now Upset. It's still alive! It's still alive! He flashes out of vision! It's a disaster! Sapporo's here for some reason, offering himself upon the altar in exchange!
What? Okay,
What?
Saburo took down Supa for the team. I think, so MKOI saw the TP.
Okay, yeah, explain.
They saw the TP, so that's why they wanted to back off. But JoJo was matching the TP, so they didn't have anything to really be worried about. They could have just kept clicking forward. At least it ends up, they get, and not having a great game. And usually it felt like in the last few splits that it was Mirwin. Sure. But now Mirwin has been pretty consistent, as I think I just cursed him and he might be dead.
You did. Q flash in, looking good from Razor. Mirwin trying to walk his way out of this one, but there's really no way to escape. Bro tries to finish with the Grim Deliverance, but one more auto from Razor to get the job done. Great job. That is at Jack Spectra on Twitter. He caster cursed. It's all his fault.
Okay, my bad on that one. Good flash from Razor. As Lospa goes in here, Scatter the Weak lands. Alvaro.
Flatty. Easy point and click follow-up. Alvaro vulnerable, but now LYON moving in to try and salvage the play. Lospa slowly but surely getting chunked down. His Upset tries to backstep. Razor also on the way in, though. Aegis Assault can be used by LYON, but keep your eyes on JoJo. Flash over the wall. The follow, the instantaneous ulti. And now it's Supa on the chase, looking for a bit of redemption as he grabs the double.
And Fnatic, you don't have the damage. You can't go on Alvaro like that. 3 kills going for the side of MKOI. So LYON sets up the play very nicely with his ultimate and gets the flank. And seals the deal on the lead that Fnatic was trying to build.
And heroic performance from LYON, Alvaro, and JoJo. Really holding down the fort as there's a bit of a struggle for Mirwin and Supa. But again, Supa with the Kaisa. Part of the reason I think we have seen it banned away a lot is even if there's some oopsies early game or things aren't going super ideally, he can just be that big piece of follow-up, that long-range threat to ensure that whatever advantage they built earlier on can turn into some big kills.
Miasma. The optimistic teleport here. Yeah. We do have to say, like, I really liked what Kadriel said about MKOI, that they will play really good League of Legends for 15 minutes, and then they will make the most disgusting plays that you've ever seen in your whole life for the next 15.
Yeah.
And I do think that when I think of throwing in the LEC, MKOI is probably #1. You know, that's the first team that comes to mind. Don't you think so?
Only based on expectations. We have such high expectations.
No, but not in terms of expectations. In terms of, like, they have a lead.
Sure.
Are they going to throw the game?
Yeah. I think it's the contrast in performance. That's what I would describe as the biggest thing we see. The highs are so high, but also the lows are so low. And it's not that other teams don't have lower lows, it's just their highs aren't as high. So it's not as crazy when we do see it happen. But now we really are in a situation where MKOI has fully regained control of this game. Fnatic doing their best to set up here around the Herald. No flash for JoJo. Flashes for Supa, for Alvaro. Herald already down. Alvaro hoping for the play. Nice Q interrupt to keep things going. That's going to be public execution along the back line. Immediate fall coming from Saburo, gliding on the flank, but it's JoJo coming in from behind with the Miasma, looking for a little bit more as Lospa gets very squishy once the Unbreakable Will falls apart. Upset running for his life. Hex Flash about to come over. Supa doesn't have the ulti to chase, but Fnatic, they get the Herald, but they lose 2 in the process.
And Fnatic, they're just lambs to the slaughter. MKOI can just run them down, and there's simply no damage on the Fnatic lineup. Like, the fight is just a big square. Everybody's fighting inside of it, and everybody's using their spells. But Fnatic's damage is just not really there. Nobody is getting low. Like, Mirwin goes to half, and even with the Syndra ultimate, it feels like it just tickled him. And then the rest of the MKOI lineup can just run them down. The DPS of the Kaisa, of the Casio, is so much higher than what the Syndra or the Astral can provide. Sapporo is fine.
He's fine. I agree with you. And now we're in a position where you've got a 2-0-7 pain.
Yeah, and both carries now on MKOI are 2,000 gold up a piece. So they have so much more damage to take down that front line. And as you said, Rick, was like, Supa and JoJo have a pretty easy job because there's so much front line to hit. There's Razor, there's Lospa, there's Saburo. They just need to hit the first target and then they can run them down after the fact. Now 2 dragons for MKOI. The game is starting to look like, I wouldn't say it's unthrowable yet, but it's pretty close. Vladdy's now caught, might just die.
Vladdy is probably just going to burn to death here. JoJo grabs that one. Locket a little bit late from Lospa. Now Supa gets to fly in. Start wiping up these kills. Lospa running for his life.
I'm going to say it. It's unthrowable for MKOI. 5,000 gold lead, 2 dragons. Well, they're getting mid-tower. Like, how did Fnatic win fights?
I don't know.
Go.
MKOI, dude, you have to remember. Look, this is the thing about the Karpas. Sometimes they're the Magic Karpas, they're just struggling, and sometimes they're the Gyarados. And just because they're the Gyarados right now doesn't mean they can't devolve, brother.
To kill Mirwin.
That he does. but LYON is on the way. They're both at 2 items.
Saboro's here as well.
Okay.
They're
All right,
going
Mirwin
to kill Mirwin no matter what.
Knockback on Mirwin is good. Mirwin will fall. LYON will allow him to drop. Not going to move in to try to get anything else on the map, but keep in mind, mid lane is being pushed at the same time. Top lane is being pushed at the same time. It is a huge investment from Fnatic to find that kill and to hope to find that tower. Shutdowns, or bounties, excuse me, are available. So they will get a decent amount of gold back, but they're going to lose more and more control over these waves in this map stage.
This is a good death by Mirwin. I think Fnatic, they're just overcommitted, but they don't really have any other play. They lose any sort of equal numbers fight, so they have to look for these sort of plays, but now LYON might have overcommitted.
Knock up there. No one else on the team with a global to support LYON, but Alvaro is on the way in. Ballbreaker doesn't quite take Razork out. A lot of poke damage contesting, and Supa just appears out of nowhere to finish the kill. Grim Deliverance from Saburo. Doesn't quite have the damage. Yes, just barely. Gets him the revive. So much determination, but probably still just set the fall here. Good damage, not nearly enough to get anything else done though. Supa now dominating. Gladdy being run down. Fnatic stuck around way too long in the bottom lane.
Fnatic, they tried to make the play on LYON, but they didn't have the damage, and he bought so much time to make the rest of the play happen. As you see, it starts off with a nice bit of chunk onto LYON, but with the flash, he's able to get away, and then Alvaro lands the Pop Blossom onto Razork. Razork doesn't get out of it, and even though they take down Alvaro, it's like there's 2 TPs behind. Gladdy as well is 2 levels down on this Casio. Even if it was just 1 TP, I think he's dead no matter what. And it's a tough time to be a Fnatic fan in this one.
That it is. Bot lane looked pretty damn good. A lot of punishment onto Mirwin and Supa specifically, but it wasn't enough to give Fnatic full control of the map, and now things have been falling a bit apart as Upset tries to do some damage. They don't have any damage. Saburo now moving in, the exhaust down. Jojo Pyun is finally low. Razork's now going in, but they burned everything, and Jojo lived way too long. Supa still untouched. 2.5 items. Wants is already down, but the burst damage is there from Fnatic. It's happening. They're devolving. The Magikarp has returned. The Gyarados is gone. Fnatic find the fight.
Fnatic gets a Nash! Are you kidding me? It's 4-0 with Jojo Pyun getting caught. How does MKOI keep doing it? No way!
It's like a reverse Houdini. We're just gonna need to wait for the replay. I don't know what to say. Either we're the most powerful wizards in the world for these caster curses, or this is just diabolical mid-game.
Although, Supa... Oh, he can't. Oh, no way.
Flash. Ooh, still got clipped.
I feel like he's gonna die here.
Lower. He has the dopamine though. He wants to flash and Q, kill 3 people. But he already burned flash. Nothing left. Keep in mind, still 2,000 gold in the favor of Supa and nearly 3,000 in favor of Jojo Pyun. What happens here?
So Jojo just is too cocky. He just gets flash comboed by Lospa and sent into the back line. And he's not able to get the Petrifying Gaze onto Upset. And then he ends up dying, and then LYON is in the front lines getting knocked around and ends up dying as well. And then at that point, it's a 3 versus 5. Gladdy gets the flash scatter of the week onto Alvaro, and Mirwin wants to try to salvage, but there's nothing to do. And then the work...
Be the one who goes first. He gets a good enough angle on the public execution as possible, but again, really tough skill to hit. Upset going to throw out an early ulti. Not going to connect them to anyone, but does give them some decent information. They spot LYON Supa at the very least. Jojo and Mirwin, twin flankers, approaching from opposite sides. Fnatic have to be careful about grouping forward, grouping up, walking further forward. Has to for Gladdy. Now they all see them. Instantly, it's Alvaro. On to 4. The follow-up is there. Grim Deliverance and Saburo is going to try desperately to turn it. Supa going a little bit too far, but it might not matter. Jojo Pyun holding the line as best he can with that ulti, but it's just a 1-for-1. Gladdy traded for Supa. Supa going in too soon. The objective getting lower and lower. Razork has to go in. Eyes on the Drake. Who can get the 50-50 in the end? It is MKOI, empowered now by the Mountain Soul. Easy to keep this fight going. Grand Starfall coming down. Extra movement speed. Nowhere for Upset to go. MKOI get the Soul and set their sights on the Baron.
MKOI might have just done it with the Soul, with the Baron Nashor. Looks like it might be game over for Fnatic. It looked pretty dire in the beginning, this fight, with Supa going so deep as we watch it back. I really like this position from MKOI with the flank that Mirwin has with the position of Jojo. But then Supa, so deep, trying to 1v1 Upset, but he ends up falling super fast. And I do think in a different game, where Jojo isn't 3 levels up, he isn't this monster, maybe this is where Fnatic mount their comeback and make it happen. But Jojo is the monster for MKOI. He is so strong. And LYON getting the smite as well, that just seals the deal. on Fnatic's demise.
And you can see the time that MKOI have spent playing together really show itself in that fight, whereas on the side of Fnatic, Saburo kind of walking in to help hit the Drake.
Maybe this was the one opportunity that Fnatic would get. Razork is still on the flank.
He's committed. He's a Fnatic player, and that is his death brush. Oh, gets a TP. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
This is going to be JoJo, who wanted to come back to the fight anyway, however. Now they're going to turn on the JoJo. Q flash in, instantaneous ulti. JoJo now in trouble. Nice dash back with the rocket belt. Goes golden, buys a bit more time. Supa now flying in to help him clean up the fight. JoJo Pyun getting lower, but they cannot knock that snake down. Grim determination. Going to be in a revive for Soboro, but there's just nowhere for him to go. The determination not nearly enough as Elio blocking so much fall-off damage, and all of Fnatic on the retreat as it's going to be the public execution to close this one out in style. A double for JoJo. An MVP performance in this game one as MKOI are going to continue their victory march.
And Fnatic, they tried as they may. You cannot take down JoJo Pyun. 10-1-7. Such a great game from him, securing the win for MKOI in this game one against Fnatic.
Might have gotten messy in the middle, but trusting the process still takes them to victory here in game one in this series between MKOI and Fnatic.
That's a Gyarados on mid lane.
It's a Gyarados, right? Is it Gyarados or Gyarados?
It's Gyarados, I think I said it wrong. There's no Magikarp.
There's no Magikarp. We got one Magikarp moment, otherwise pure Gyarados here from the side of MKOI. And you can see still frustration. The conversation isn't woo, you know, it's there's some criticism there. They know what they need to do to adapt. It is a process to get back into form. Fnatic had them on the ropes at a couple moments, but we'll see if Fnatic can fully bounce back as we send it over to the analyst desk.
That was a messy game, I gotta say. But yeah, MKOI clearly coming out on top here. Now, I feel like they didn't make it easy in the early game because we had clear weaknesses on both sides of the map. If I look at Supa on the side of MKOI and if I look at Vladi on the side of Fnatic, why was one inting more impactful than the other?
I mean, it got very weird at times because the thing was, like, I think there was moments where Supa, ended up like not picking up the kill on bot lane and giving some kills across, but I think crucially the kills ended up not going towards like the Syndra, so a lot of that burst damage wasn't quite there.